Hey, good afternoon in this heat wave here in Calgary. Um, this is the very first live video that I'm gonna go upload. Truth be told, I'm doing this for practicality reasons. It's been a busy week, and we have a few big projects that we're working on for the business. We've taken on quite a few clients this month, so I'm in a backlog. And there's also a shift now from the first-time home buyers to the investing series that we're going to be working on. And that's what today is going to be about. We want to talk about the reasons why somebody shouldn't invest right now. And I know that that title is a little bit clickbaity. The truth be told, it's really it's a question that we keep getting asked right now. Like, is it a good time to invest because the markets are getting higher and higher? We're at an all-time high, and it seems like that keeps on happening. That in itself isn't a reason to wait and not invest. In fact, I'll tell you that there's always a reason not to invest. There's always some sort of news, and let me just switch screens here so I can show that to you. As you guys can tell, this is all new to me. I don't know how to do this whole live and switching screens quite well yet, but this is an article from Investment News, and this was in September 9th of 2020. There's always a reason not to jump in, whether it's good or bad, but this is really a study in the result for it. If I looked up, just there's going to be tons of articles that would say the same thing. 1970, if you invested 10 grand, all the way to 2019, this is how much you'll have. 1980, you invest 10 grand, this is how much you're going to have. 1990, you invested 10 grand, by the time it's done, this is how much you're going to have. Obviously, all of these are historical and it's not going to guarantee a future return, but there's always going to be bad news or good news. In fact, the fact the markets are climbing, that's kind of a good news, but it's being spun off as a bad thing, right? So one of the things that I did was just simply looked it up. Like, look up S&P 500 milestones. And when was the last time that it reached all-time highs? Really, there's this fear that if I invested in the market right now, it's at an all-time high, so it could crash. Maybe not. We don't know that for sure. But what I wanted to show you is if I was doing a prep for a video, this is what I would do anyway. I would just search up some historical data. Let's look up some milestones from 2013 to 2020. Essentially, these are high levels for the S&P 500. There was a high in 2013. There was a high in 2014. There was a high in 2016, 2017, 2018. And there was another high in 2019. If you invested in 2013, the S&P was at 1,565. If you looked up what it is today, it's going to be significantly higher than that. So would it have been a bad thing if you invested at that high? Right now, hindsight tells us no. So in my opinion, that itself is not a reason for us not to invest. There has to be more meaningful reasons to delay investing, and I want to share a few things because I'm not able to do any animations or any edits to this. This is being shot live and I'm going to publish this. We have this as our substitute for our animation today. Honestly, it's prompts for me because I'm not comfortable going off the top of my head. Number one is why. Don't invest in anything, in any market or any asset class, if you don't know why you're going to do it. You don't know the reason behind it. You don't know what your goals are. You don't have a clear rationale for why you're deferring your spending. Essentially, every time you invest, you're saving, you're pooling it, and you're not spending it today so that you can have access to that capital in the future. Whether that's 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 30 years from now, what's the reason why behind it? Unless you have a clear answer to that and you can easily say that I'm investing for my retirement, therefore I'm going to put away $500 or $600 every month. Again, the numbers are not as relevant, but it's about having that clarity, or at least starting to get that clarity and having that that desire to really quantify and to vocalize what the rationale is behind it, not for other people, but for yourself, because you're going to be faced with decisions going forward. There's going to be choices that you have to make, and it's going to be difficult for you to say yes to certain things and to say no to certain things. One of the things that we talked about before in previous videos was opportunity cost. Every time I say yes to one option, I'm immediately saying no to something else. So if I'm saying yes to something and there's something that we're saying no to, there has to be a clear reason and a very, very definite understanding that I'm saying yes to something bigger. So I'm refusing to spend today. I'm refusing to go out and blow my budget. I'm refusing to go on vacation because I didn't plan for that yet. It sounds like I'm being miserly and I'm just controlling spending, but really there's going to be sacrifices that we need to make to invest well. So unless you have a clear reason why you're doing it, it's going to be very difficult for you to stay the course. The next point, and the second reason why you shouldn't invest, is you don't have a clear who. All the things that we want to accomplish, typically, we want to do that with people that we care about, right? It's easy for us to quit on ourselves, but it's a lot more difficult to stop if we know exactly who we're doing this for, whether it's the retirement goals that we have, whether it's saving for our kids' education, whether it's buying that new home. Who are the people that are going to be around us to enjoy that, to share that with, and to have that meaningful experience or have that memory to share and look back to? So that's the second point, is don't invest until you know your why and until you have a clear reason for who is going to be there with you. And the only person that's going to be there with you in every single milestone and every single goal is you, right? So that's important for us to clarify, because it doesn't matter how we position things. I've met a lot of people that want to retire early because they're miserable. They hate their jobs, they hate their lives right now. And that sounds really mean to say, but retiring early or looking forward to your retirement isn't going to change how you're seeing life. And I've seen it with clients. If there's a lot of things that you want to fix and improve right now and you're deferring that until your retirement, I would strongly suggest that you fix that and try to manage that now before you use your capital to invest for some sort of deferred life. The only difference between a person that's working today with a job that they hate or with a life that they don't quite enjoy and a person that's retired is person A is miserable with a paycheck, person B is miserable with a pension. Kind of the same thing. Number 3 on my prompts is alignment. I don't know, where's my camera? Alignment. If you can quantify, you can clarify who you're, or you can clarify your why and your who, and the real reason why you want to accomplish the things you want to accomplish and your goals. Are you doing things today that align with that? I can't take credit for this nice little drawing here, but this Venn diagram here is, I think it's inspired by Carl Richards. If you imagine 2 Venn diagrams for our value, there's the things that we say is important versus what we actually do. So if we're investing and saving for our kids' education because their education is important to us, is there an alternative way to spend that capital, your resources today, to give them that value? For example, I don't mean to sound harsh, but it's easy for financial advisors or banks to immediately say, you have kids, open up an RESP because you're going to want to give them a good education. Which could be true, But if I met somebody with a limited budget and they're not quite sure that they're going to be sending their kids to school, or their kids would even want to pursue their educational plans for them, it's hard for us to say for certain that the RESP is a good thing. What a better alternative could be is to maybe spend the time teaching your kids now, or educating them now, some life lessons or some things that, some activities that they could participate in. Maybe it's martial arts, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's enrolling them to Kumon, or what have you, or maybe spending the time to tutor them, because it doesn't matter if you have the funds for their education if it doesn't align with them, or if they can't qualify or get into the school, there's still going to be a mismatch. Same thing with dream retirements for couples. You can create a retirement vision of some sort of paradise where a couple would be there together to enjoy it as their extended honeymoon. The problem is, if you're not spending time today to enjoy each other's company and to build on that relationship and invest on that relationship, you might have the funds in retirement, but if your marriage is in trouble, maybe there's other ways to spend the money or invest the money right now. So to me, we invest for a reason, but we always have to consider the alternatives. Granted that you've already taken care of your long-term, let's say your retirement funding, all your other assets, you have a good foundation, and you have that extra cash or extra dollars that you want to invest. Is it a good time to invest that? I can't say that for certain unless you actually dug deep and you understood your own personal situation and the other goals that you could consider. Because whenever we invest, we're choosing to defer spending, and we're choosing to defer maybe some experiences today. What if you could spend the money now and have some enjoyment, right? With your spouse, or spend the money now and give the kids the education that they want. So to me, that alignment is a big deal. So don't invest unless you have a good reason to, unless you know who you're doing it for. And don't invest unless you have a clear way to align your values with where you're going to put your capital, whether you spend that today or in the future. That's it for today. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you if you enjoy this, and thank you for bearing with me. This is a bit of a challenge for me. I'm not sure if I just rambled on or if this was helpful. I want to keep doing this again so I can get better. Love y'all. Peace out.